Hi, Paul Hefty here. I want to talk now about RPO design in general, specifically using Penn State glance concept and receiver techniques on how we design this with a triangle O system. So first thing here with dealing with RPO design is what you're trying to do is basically replace the conflict defender. And that's the defender you can't account for in the blocking scheme. So we want to replace that defender that's filling into the box that we don't have a blocker for with a receiver route. One of the things that's happening right now at the college level, starting to get into the high school level, is defenses are using two high safeties and then rolling a safety down in as that extra defender or conflict defender that we can't block. So what we're trying to do with this now is we're going to replace the replacer, is what we're going to talk about and show you. The glance route itself specifically is a vertical slant or a skinny slant. We use a 6 steps and then plant and get vertical. Note here is we have our wide receivers with their inside foot back. If you're a team that is traditional and has their outside foot back, now you're looking at doing this on a 5th step. Again, these are great RPO routes that will beat press and man coverage. That's why we like this so much. Key point here for teaching with your quarterbacks, I get this question all the time. How about throwing it front side, back side? If you keep your shoulders square on the initial ride phase, now I'm able to see both ways and I'm able to turn both ways. What we teach them is you're going to step with the foot opposite of where the back's coming from, shoulder square, start your read phase, and now if you're going to actually, it's a give to the back, you can turn and pivot at that point to turn and present the ball and seat that in the belly. If you're going to go ahead and pass, now it's just a rocker step where I step forward, shoulder square, and I back up to pass. Again, other step, rocker, shoulder square, rock back to that back foot into my passing mode. So shoulder square is the key. All right, let's take a look at a couple examples here. You can do this with split zone. Again, split zone now, the glance route is going to be run by the X receiver in our scheme. We call this a pop concept because then the 2 wide receiver side, we run a 2-level type of route. We're going to do our classic 4 verts bender read. He's going to go to where the safety isn't. And then the play side number 1, or the Z in this case, is going to run a 4-step and then a flat slant coming underneath it. So we call that a looky route because we're looking inside, get 2 levels. The glance here then is always going to be the X receiver. This is great when you're running this towards the H, but split zone is really, we run this as a gut or a cutback type play. So the conflict defender becomes this backside weak outside backer, or what we call our woo, our weak Mr. Zero. Mr. Zero is our outside backers. In this case, you can see, and I'll show you on film, again, if there is no weak side outside backer or woo, it is actually what we call the GOAT, is the backside safety. And he can then becomes this is what I'm talking about. Defenses using safeties to replace down into the box. We're going to replace the replacer with a glance route. So let's take a look here. This is Penn State back in 2016 when Moorhead was installing this. Again, you're going to see here the H is this side there in a 3x1. So we've got 2 high. For our terminology, the mic is always to the play side. So you can see here now, we've got, when they're split, we've got a mic and a will. There's no weak side 0 or weak side outside backer. So the GOAT becomes that. As he fills down in, that's the conflict defender. We're going to replace the replacer with a 6-step and skinny slant. Note too how quarterback keeps his shoulders square and goes into this rocker technique. So let's take a look here. Again, notice shoulder square, rocks back. The timing's great. That's why you want to take 5 or 6 steps on your route, because the timing's critical that you're hitting him off the cut. This here then is a way to take your inside gap, and now we're running power where we're running it right at the H. So now the SAM is actually the conflict defender. For this, 2 high safeties. The mic is that play side when they're split, so there is no SAM. But again, we're going to replace the replacer with the on-site safety, which we call the OX, now becomes the SAM. So let's take a look here. Here's Oregon. They actually, instead of an H-back, this is a traditional tight end, but again, they're running back to that side with power. You can see we've got the OX is up pretty tight anyway, but you're going to see him step down in, and he gets caught in this no man's land where he's not a run defender or a pass defender, and we just throw it right behind him. So again, here we go. We got power, backside guard pulling around. Here comes, this is technically the OX. He steps down. We say he fills, you drill, and there's again that critical timing. You're getting vertical 5 or 6 steps before you come inside. Now, another complement to this is what we call a peak power, and this is when we're running plays away from the H and we want him to release into a route, so we get a 4th receiver. We're going to still use our pop concept, so we still got our pop here with our bender read, our flat looky, and our glance route. We just add the H in, doing what we call a peak route, where he's basically going to run again to that opening, similar to the bender read where the safety is not, and just get released there. Real simple and sound. This is something we did way back in 2013, 2014. This is our 9th grade. You can see here now, this is the will right there. So now when we do peaks, we actually read the will backer, because that's the conflict defender we can't block. And we're going to go ahead and, we did this out of a, like Oregon, traditional tight end at that time, 2x2, and it's just going to go up the seam. This would be now, I'll show you the different ways it gets applied. So with this, real simple. We got a will blitz coming here. He's going to release, and it's going to be simple just going to opening. It's like an old tight end dump pass. Again, will blitz is simple to see. He releases, no safety, easy play, easy answer to blitz. This is the second phase, and it comes back to the glance. What teams will do is they'll want to jam that tight end, okay? So again, we're still reading the will, but it's now we've got 2 receivers. So again, the will gets jammed, okay, or the H-back or tight end gets jammed. We still have our glance here all day, staying skinny on the safety. So again, these are 9th graders back in 2015 running this. Different receivers, different quarterbacks. Rocker step, right on rhythm, and a simple completion off of blitz turns into a touchdown. The next thing then you can do with your glance is you can put this into outside gap or outside run, which I believe is the biggest complement or area that needs to be added to almost every RPO type of system. Again, we're going to do pin and pull sweep here. And you're going to see Kansas City doing this. It's very popular now, using either outside zone or pin and pull. But obviously the play side now becomes blocking, so the conflict defender really becomes this backside will, or again, weak side 0. So we're going to go ahead and have this 2 receivers on the backside, basically runs a hot over route to replace the Mike for run through, and then we still run our glance route here, attacking that will or woo back there. Okay. So let's take a look here with Kansas City. Again, they're going to run outside zone to the right. You're going to see, here's the over, they hit that, and then that would be a glance up the backside. So again, you're still using your glance concept, but you're getting 2 receivers again going inside. One's going to run what I call a hot over and get flat and just replace those inside backers. And then we go inside out with the read. Real simple. Now, you say that's the NFL. Here's us doing this back in 2015. We're in a 3x1, so all we have is the glance, but you can see we've got access. So now when we go to glance with this, we're going right there to the will backer. He's going to run this a little flatter than we would like, but again, he's going to open grass, and the timing is what's critical with it. So let's watch these 9th graders do this. Again, staying on rhythm. Again, easy completion against hard filling or scraping backers with it. All right, so hopefully that gives you a good idea of how you can simplify your RPO design, but more importantly, some of the techniques and the principles and the timing of replacing the replacer, using the glance route, and other variations off of that. Thanks.